This is Straight Talk Politics. I'm Stephen Trotter. I'm your host and the owner of this channel. I am going to the topic again of the expulsion of undocumented workers. I finally got the politically correct term right, and now I'm going to go over the issues that have come up. And I'm going to go into the area of the law, which I'm not a lawyer, but I do have some understanding of what's legal and what's not, because I paid attention in public schools when I was young. If you like this content, please press like. If you want to help us out with a subscribe, we'd very much appreciate it. And notify will get you instant notice of everything we post when we post it. Latest news in the expulsion of undocumented immigrants issue is coming from Texas. Texas, which has a very much an anti-immigrant, hateful attitude in the Republicans that control that state. Texas has warned that its construction boom is dependent on undocumented workers. Construction may lose 60% of its workforce. If construction in Texas loses 60% of its workforce, that's a disaster. That could put the economy of Texas into recession. These undocumented workers are paying taxes. They're paying into the Social Security system money which they will never collect because they're not legal. They're doing us a favor. They're doing good work. Yet we hate them as Americans. That's proven by our votes. And we want them out. This old phrase, cut off your nose to spite your face. These workers add to the economy. They buy food, they buy housing, they buy furniture, they buy appliances. And now they're being told to get out. There's a lot of buyer's remorse out there with people thinking, my grandma, Aunt Marissa, can't be included in this. She's been here for 30 years. Actually, she is. I mean, the plan is to go after the criminals first, and then go after everybody else. And they still claim they're going to move 11 to 20 million workers. And I'm not sure which way this is going to go. It may go that they do some showy stuff and they drag some criminals and kick them out. And I think that if that's all they do, I don't have a problem with it. But if they start taking out essential workers, it's going to be bad for the economy. And that's why Donald Trump got elected, because the economy, through inflation, was not looking good. Inflation was hurting people. And I understand that. I look at the cost of my Friday night chicken. It used to be $9.99. Now it's $12.99. I see inflation in my life. I understand. But it just seems that a lot of people's votes were not informed votes in this past election. What I'm predicting is that major labor shortages will occur, which could cause economic disruption and wage inflation. Replacing those construction workers in Texas is going to be very expensive. It may also lead to immigration reform. If we need those workers in Texas, we should make them legal. We shouldn't make them hide. We should make them able to pay into the Social Security Trust Fund, and we should make them eligible to collect these benefits because they are working and their payroll taxes are going into the system. Next issue is cost. The cost estimate of expelling 11 to 20 million undocumented workers is between $350 and $600 billion. That's more money than Elon Musk has. So what are we going to do to expel all these people? We're going to borrow more money. You know, if we're having a trade war with China and we've raised tariffs 50% on all Chinese goods, I'm not sure they're going to be in the mood to continue buying U.S. Treasury debt. And there's a Tom Clancy story. It was set in the it was published in the early 90s, and the bad guys tried to take down the United States economy by selling trillions of dollars of U.S. debt, and they triggered a. It was in this case it was Japan, but it was a very exciting story. And what happened was that $2 trillion in U.S. debt got sold, and the U.S. government was forced to raise interest rates to protect the dollar. They created a run on the dollar, and it was an economic crisis that was narrowly avoided because Jack Ryan's wife is smart. But I digress. Back to the topic here. Straight talk here. We don't have $350 to $600 billion to expel these workers. These workers are paying taxes. They might, I don't know if they're paying $350 billion worth of taxes, but they are paying taxes. And they're not getting their Social Security taxes back because they can't collect Social Security because they're undocumented. The Trump administration, the incoming Trump administration, plans to start this mass deportation using the 1798 Enemies Act. This act has never been used and has rarely been tested. And it may not even be constitutional. I don't see anything that's obviously unconstitutional about it, but it's going to result in a lot of noise and a court battle. I mean, it's just amazing how much money the Trump campaign spent defending him from lawsuits and criminal prosecution. You think that's going to go away? It's not. The New York trial that he was convicted of violation of state business laws, they put the sentencing on hold, and on January 21st, 2029, Donald Trump is going to get sentenced. And he may get sentenced to jail time. But that's been put in suspended animation. It's in the sleeping tube. And it's going to come back on January 21st, 2025. I haven't looked at the calendar, 2029. I haven't looked at the calendar yet. But it'll be an interesting day. Donald Trump wants to use the military to expel undocumented incidents. The problem is it's against the law. You ever heard this term called posse comitatus? I pronounce that very poorly. What that is that using the military for police purposes is not allowed. Let's take a look at some legal information on that right here. It's an act that bars federal troops from participating in civilian law enforcement except when expressly authorized by law. It was passed 143 years ago. It was designed to keep the Union Army from interfering with the politics of the South. They were trying to pass Jim Crow laws against African Americans. And, I mean, it was designed to keep the military from going on the street and arresting people. And it says that there must be an explicit statute that permits these police powers. Now, Donald Trump thinks, or he's been advised, that he can declare a national emergency and use the army any way he wants. That's going to trigger a bunch of lawsuits, and it's going to result in chaos. And I mean, it's looking like nothing's going to get done in the Trump administration except possibly the extension of tax cuts for the rich and famous. It says right here, whoever, except in cases in which the circumstances are expressly authorized by Congress or an act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute laws shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. So the military will be able to say these orders are unlawful and we don't have to follow them. Will they? I don't know. The Navy is not mentioned. There's a different law that covers the Navy. So I'd say watch out, Donald. You're trying to do too much too fast, and the checks and balance system is going to shut you down. Thank you again for watching this content. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving for all the subscriptions I've gotten to now. Let's have some more subscriptions. Let's press the notify button and let me know what you want. I'm also looking for partners. I don't want this to be a one-man show. I've given myself 4 years to build this up to become a media powerhouse. We are left-leaning, but we are pro-Israel, and we will continue putting out content as long as people keep watching it and consuming it. Thank you very much. Have a really great day, and happy Thanksgiving again.